I'd like to introduce Kwanta Rodrigues. Kwanta is based here in the Toronto area, working with HomeStars. And she is their senior marketing automation specialist. Or you actually just got a promotion, didn't you? Did your title?
Yes, I did.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So apologies if I still have your old title as opposed to your
No,
new.
all good. It's still new to me, so it's just sinking in slowly.
So yeah, we're going to talk about email personalization. Again, a very relevant topic to the current ecosystem with email. And again, just as a reminder, please put your questions in the chat box on the side of the session. And if you'd like to see the slides bigger, just give them a double click. And after this session, we have a break. So Kwanta, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Hi, everyone. I hope that you are having a nice morning so far. In this session, we are going to be talking about email personalization. That is more than just name dropping. I hope you enjoy this session and get useful takeaway to apply to your next personalized campaign. So let's jump right in. My name is Kwanta Rodrigues, and I'm the Marketing Automation Manager at HomeStars. Very recent. I have been working in the email marketing space for 11 years. The last two of which have been at HomeStars. HomeStar is a review platform that connects homeowners with contractors. Our job in marketing automation is to help coach and guide contractors and homeowners to be successful on our platform and their respective needs. Since I started there, my main focus has been growing the demand on the consumer side and growing the lifecycle email campaigns. I have recently started working more closely with the B2B team to help balance the supply and demand as well. There's lots to be done. Okay. Next slide. Today, we are going to kick off this session by defining what email personalization is. I will then share our experience on where we were before we started personalizing. I'll run through our journey from blast type email campaigns to product specific email personalization. I think a lot of you would be able to relate to this. I will then share some of our insights gathered while we were in the transition phase to develop our foundation to set us up ready for start personalizing emails. I will go through how we set our SMART objectives for our personalized campaign and talk through the importance of them. As mentioned in the description, I will share with you how we made the most of our data that was available to us, the benefits of having data definition, creating a storyboard for our email marketing dashboards, and using Tableau to visualize our personalized email stats. I will run through how we plan and develop our campaign so that it's future-proof and scalable, and talk through how we invest in resource to measure and optimize our personalized email campaigns. Next slide. What is personalized email? A personalized, oh, sorry, did the presentation drop off? Sorry, bear with me. Oh, there it is. Sorry, it's still there. What is personalized email? A personalized email is more than just name dropping. The user's name in a subject line or an email template. It's a one-to-one communication that can be segmented based on each user's previous interactions, behavior, or the state that the user is in on our product journey. For effective personalized email, it's really important that you truly understand each person's need by looking at what each user is telling you in their profile and behavior. As you can see on the right-hand side here, there is an example of the flowchart that we created to help understand the user's journey This exercise helped us develop our segment in order to create personalized campaigns. As a quick example, let's consider the flowchart on screen. As homeowners come through our platform with specific home improvement projects in mind, we look at their behavior, how they navigate our site, and the kind of interactions they have with our email communications. From there, we create personalized segmentation for each personal journey. Our goals we aim to do with our personalized email campaign is to create a conversation and provide an impactful experience and useful information to help them do their home projects. We do this by customizing the email message, content, and design for each homeowner. Next slide. We believe good personalization is easy and non-invasive. It should be timely and relevant for each homeowner. When each homeowner provides that information or have made a review on our site, they expect us as a marketer to use that information to help through their home project by recommending the next best project or the next best action that they should action on after they enter the platform. Here are some examples of our personalized life cycle campaigns that we currently have running. The first campaign we have here is our onboarding email, which is personalized against their first interactions with the HomeStar platform. For an example, if a homeowner submits a request for gutter cleaning, the next best step is to read reviews of the service professionals, of which we provide 3 to start off with. This is timely and relevant, we believe, builds a strong personalized relationship with our homeowner. The second example is about creating conversation with the homeowner. 7 days after onboarding, we check in with the homeowner by setting a hiring status, check the most engaged email in the homeowner's lifecycle. The hiring status is the most engaged email, sorry. A few days later, they will then let us know that they have completed that project, and then we'll send out the next project home projects that they should kick off. Here are some of our personalized questions that we provide answers for. How should they hire a pro? The types of question they should ask. What is the cost guide for that particular project? What kind of material should they look into to save money? People are exposed to personalized platforms, products like Netflix, YouTube, and Amazon. They expect all their communication to be customized for them. I wanted to share with you our journey from the early days with sending email blasts type email, some data insights that we have found to help us make key decisions, and developing a foundation that allowed us to execute these awesome personalized emails. The very first type of email that we worked on for our HomeStars were weekly newsletters and tactical blast email that were seasonal and trending. If you look at the evolution visual we have here, we were definitely a new baby monkey. I think that's what you call that first monkey, which was the starting point of our email communication, where the same blast got sent to everyone and was not personalized. And I can happily say that if you see the next box there, that's where we are now in terms of personalization. Early on, we knew that we eventually wanted to start distributing personalized content for each homeowner, but we didn't have automated data to help develop personalized campaign. So we were forced to focus on learning by finding the best messaging, subject line, design layout, and content for each home projects. We knew that these insights would be useful for us when we were ready to develop our personalized email campaigns. As you can see here, we have a Tableau dashboard for each of our blast templates to help document the best performing modules. And we have highlighted here the modules that we know that would perform the best for us when we were going to go and develop our personalized campaign. Next slide. We also worked on reviewing homeowners' data and developing email communication marketing dashboard using Tableau to centralize the information that we gathered. Good email personalization is a data-driven process. Tableaus allow us to visualize the data, which in turn empowers the team to decide on the best communication that is going to help homeowners with their home project. When reviewing our homeowners' data, these are the types of questions that we want to answer. When do homeowners start becoming inactive? Where are the pain points based on the reviews from each project? What other types of project homeowners are submitting? What other projects homeowners are submitting for each session? This exercise helps us prioritize our personalized email communication, knowing that needs and wants allow us to build trust with our homeowners and coach them through that home project. Personally, I feel like we can always be expanding our dashboards to grow our understanding of how emails are performing. This flood of data can get out of hand, and Tableau helps us centralize email marketing results in an easy to understand manner. Next slide. Next up, we have setting key objectives for our personalized email campaign. In my previous role, we were told to start applying personalization on all email communication because it can help to improve our conversion rate. Yes, partially, that is true, but like a lot of you would know, developing a true personalization email can be costly in resources and time, and often it involves creating many different versions of images and copy. Something that I like to keep in mind when we start brainstorming for our personalized email is goals drive emails personalization plan. It's a tactic, not a strategy. Therefore, I believe in setting out smart objectives for all email campaign, especially personalized emails. You have to be very specific with setting out the objectives. It should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Having a smart objective for your personalized campaign will save you a lot of time. You can prioritize your content wants and needs around the objectives that you set out. Objectives can help you steer away from unnecessary content wish lists. As you know, this can easily happen when you have many stakeholders involved in the email project. Next slide. Here is an example of our smart objectives for the next project recommendation campaign. As you can see here, we allocated grow demand by 5% or X% for specific, measurable, project submitted, attainable, increased by a certain percent, relevant, related to recent project, and time-bound, X time after completed project. You're probably wondering, how do I come up with these values? At HomeStars, we established a baseline by looking at how similar campaigns perform. Specifically, we look at what is an attainable increase, consider business requirements. For each of our personalized campaign, we try to keep the objectives as specific as possible. Having too many objectives can have a negative impact on your email campaign results, as there are too many data points to accurately measure. My personal rule of thumb is no more than 2 objectives. For your benefit, here is a second example of our SMART objectives for hiring status. And as I mentioned before, this is our most engaged campaign. The specific here is grow engagement by X%. Measurable, we use the response rate for this email. Increased by such a percentage and relevant for each project. And X time bound is X time after quote is submitted. And moving on. Getting your data in order. I would like to briefly discuss getting your data in order to support the development of email personalization. This is something that is going to vary from company to company. Some of you might be very lucky and won't have to do anything. For everyone else, this is for you. Back in January, I read an article that mentioned 80% of marketers are giving up on personalization because they have found the tool that they were using were challenging and just didn't work. The core platform stems from the data not being accessible. I will go through how we at HomeStar approach this problem by data review, data cleansing, Tableau dashboards. Okay. The first step we took, we looked into reviewing homeowners data was to see what we had at hand. We look at various sources, and they are our email marketing platform, the CRM, and databases. As part of reviewing our data sources, we take note of what data we do not have and data that we do have to support personalized email campaign. We create a data wish list on a spreadsheet to brief the product and engineering teams in. And I got an example on the right-hand side here. This allows us to confidently brief product and engineering the data that is needed for our personalized campaign by being very specific in our requirements. In the request, I will directly refer to the table in the field. We have here data format required and where we are going to use this data. When everyone is on the same page, the process is streamlined, which allows the campaign to deliver it in a timely manner. It saved us a lot of time. Data cleansing. Data cleansing is a process undertaken by multiple departments, and it's an ongoing effort prioritizing by objectives of the business. Essentially, it is the process of detecting the correcting inaccurate data. Don't tell anyone this, but I have a segment where the data has not been cleansed, putting me in a position where I can't even name drop in the subject line or a template. In order for us to develop personalized emails, we require clean and accurate data. Cleansed data is a fundamental foundation of this. We are working on using Tableau prep so that marketing is not always reliant on engineering. However, we haven't been able to connect Tableau prep and our email marketing platform Pardot just yet. Let me know if you have a solution. I would love to hear from you, and no, seriously, please reach out. Okay, slide 4. The final piece of the data puzzle is about creating actionable insights that are more digestible than reading raw data. This can be achieved through data visualization and tell a story about each user. Now, a lot of you think that email marketing dashboard doesn't actually happen. That is some kind of mythical place. I am here to tell you that it can happen, and it's happening at HomeStars. This is not an easy thing to do. So I'd like to provide some tips and tricks to get started. Scope the dashboard development into personalization campaign. Do not leave it as an afterthought. Create a storyboard that the one is on the side to help design the dashboard. This includes the purpose, graph type, data sources, required fields and filters. Start simple and iterate on what you have. So like this year I started on a really basic dashboard, but we have been able to grow that dashboard, which is now pretty powerful for all of our email campaigns. Okay. Developing a personalized campaign. Effective personalized email campaigns can be a time-consuming process. You can end up going down the rabbit hole, creating hundreds of versions of content or email for each user without you knowing if the campaign is going to help you reach your objective. I find that it's beneficial to adopt the MVP approach, where you want to get your email out as fast as you can with the least amount of effort and time, so you can learn if you want to have plan for the email to be successful or not. Each of our personalized campaign will roll out in phases as depicted by the current slide. For example, onboarding campaign will go through the following phases. Phase 1, the segment is created based on how homeowners sign up. Phase 2, we look at where they signed up from. Phase 3, we build upon the project they signed up from. We provided related content to their previous project. Phase 4, building a prediction model to work on the homeowner's future needs. We're not quite there yet, but working on it. I personally recommend this approach, as I find if you skip a phase, it's much harder to measure the effectiveness of the personalization. It is important to streamline your email design and development system. With personalized email, you can potentially create hundreds of different versions depending on what your platform supports. The easier it is to create the emails, the sooner you can launch your campaign and start measuring its effectiveness. My top 3 tips to achieve this: refine and reduce time spent on each creative design. You can potentially, as I mentioned, create hundreds of JPEGs. So work out a system so that you can produce this very quickly. Have a system in place to reuse HTML files for your email. Like you look into, is there a date or a naming convention that you can easily find and replace and update the code? Maybe add a quotation so you can search the module that you need to update. Lastly, develop a system for your personalized email on how you manage your assets. This can be naming convention or how the image is stored in your server. Maybe your platform allows you to use data to inject personalized content into the email. Measuring and optimizing. One of the most important parts of email marketing is measuring the impact of your campaign, because we have dedicated a lot of time pushing our personalized campaign to production. We should absolutely measure how they perform. Ideally, you will have a resource scheduled in to do this. I think this is one of the most important parts of launching a campaign that a lot of teams do not perform. Measure helps you identify any issues with your personalized campaign. With complicated personalized campaign, have it documented how it can be reported on. This can save a lot of time of your reporting process. It can be quite involved, actually. For example, a recent campaign required downloading multiple lists, washing the list, and joining different data sets. So it's definitely important for you to document it right from the start. In case you haven't noticed, I like to create dashboards. All my personalized campaigns have dashboards to track engagement, user behavior, micro-reporting, and includes conversion from CTAs and URLs. This allows you to quickly get a snapshot of your personalized campaign performance. Optimizing. Because your optimized campaign can potentially have so many more versions, prioritization. What you optimize is so important, guys. We want to look at what is going to take the least amount of effort for our return first, and we would do one change at a time. It's really hard to measure if you do dozens of changes on the go. How are you meant to dedicate your wins to the chain? We normally would leave our change for a minimum of 2 weeks, and it could be dependent on the volume of the segment. The biggest learning from us here is to be very focused on what you are trying to accomplish and the change, and if the change is going to drive an increase in your objectives. Myself, I can easily get distracted with improving the design, and we have all the stakeholders that want to update and refine the messaging. So I try to be really conscious of the time that I spent on doing the change. Some key takeaways. I hope that you have found this presentation useful and able to take a few key actions points away and apply this to your next personalized email. From understanding what your goals and key objectives are and making the most of the data that you have available, your simple blast campaigns are very, very valuable for you to apply in your next personalized campaign. Smart objectives keep you very focused. Streamline your development and start creating dashboards for your personalized campaign. Optimize one component at a time. If you have any questions or want to reach out and talk about email personalization with me, please reach out. Thank you for your time today, and I wish you all the best for your next personalized email campaign. I'd like to leave a little note. We're also hiring as well, so for an email marketer. So if you're interested in doing more emails, personalized email, let me know. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Great presentation, great information. So just a few questions we have here.
Yes.
I have one that I'm going to ask first. So when you started building your program, where did you sort of think this is the piece I want to start at? And then, how often do you sort of iterate and add things?
Yes. So we look into our data first, and I guess we look into the data and we look into our business objectives of what we're trying to achieve. And then from there, we would work out the email that's going to, achieve our objective first. And then when we first send out the generic version, the more generic version, we would leave it out and then see if what we're trying to do there in that email campaign is going to achieve our objectives. And it doesn't always work the first time. We try to adjust and refine it so that it achieves our goal. And then from there, we refine it based on the data set that we have towards as personalized as we can to help the objective.
Great. Thank you very much. So there's a question here, and it's, in the poll. So this is one of your slides. How's the project going? Emails. When users click on that and engage with that, what types of things are you looking for, and how do you reuse that data?
Yes, so depending on where they are and what they tell us, we have an outbound team, and it's based on their preference as well. And if they prefer to be communicated by email or a phone call, we actually reach out to them to see what issues they're having. That's one way. We also have a campaign. So if they've completed the project, that next recommendation is also hooked onto that how you're going project. So that's 2 examples, I guess, of how we use that data. It's stored in our CRM.
Great. Thanks very much. And then there's another question here. One of the greatest fears of marketers is obviously having people opt out, right? And when you're testing, you may test something that people don't like, which may drive opt out. So, how are you balancing, what you're testing against, is there potential to, drive opt outs? Or maybe have you even experienced that where you thought you tested something and you were like, this is going to be great, and all of a sudden more people opted out or something like that? Do you have an experience like that maybe you could share?
For sure. Like in the early testing stage, something that we try to be conscious of is our messaging. One of the rules that we use in our content is try to be very transparent, have like the same subject line and the line of the content, like the message on the email, like to be very similar or exactly the same, because then it's clear to them, like if they open it, it's going to be the same sort of communication. So that's what we try to do. And when we're testing, we're very conscious of the unsubs. So we take note per campaign to see what people like and don't like. And we test it out with small volume first and then continually expand. Yeah.
Great. Another question here. So how do you use your email campaigns to gather more information about your contacts? So what types of tactics are you using to enrich your data set?
What do we use? Okay, this is something I learned from our last email marketing summit from last year, actually. Phil, he to just tag everything. So depending on the type of project we send out, the types of messaging, whether it's inspirational or trends, we tag them. So based on what they click, based on the project, we tag homeowners. So we understand the type of, for each homeowner, we know what they, what they've clicked on. So that's how we gather. Tagging is a really awesome system that we have using for segmentation at the moment.
Okay. And then maybe this is a bit of a follow-up. So how do you use progressive profiling when you're deciding on who gets which campaigns?
So we have a scoring system. We use Pardot. Okay. So the highest the score, and depending on how many tags do they have, because like home projects, we categorize them, whether they like small kind of project or big project or like beautiful, like I guess there's different types of home projects. So we use all that information to segment. So hope that answered your question.
I hope so. If not, please ask a follow-up so that we can get clarification. I do know, so I remember, we had a meetup at your office last year. It feels like forever ago, considering we haven't done in-person meetups in a while. And you were talking about, responding to sort of weather events, even within some of your campaigns. And back then, it was very sort of manual. Things that you were doing that were extremely manual in regards to, a weather event in Calgary or a weather event in, the Maritime provinces or something like that. Is that something that you guys have managed to automate at all, or are you still looking at very sort of...
Yes. So far, based on our testing, we learned that for Canada, the weather types that have worked the best have been snowstorm. Whereas we did a little bit of testing for when it was really hot, when we had a heat wave, but we didn't really see much traction there. So we haven't invested in that some more because, yeah, homeowners, I think snowstorm is the biggest one in Toronto, Ontario. So heat wave doesn't really affect. I think people are okay with, a heat wave. They can wait it out for a few days without needing to get their new aircon installed.
Right.
So we haven't automated this.
Just looking at that current weather patterns around that, there's a big storm coming up the East Coast. And the Weather Channel was saying in potentially 100-foot waves in some areas. So just, is that something that you, obviously, this might be news actually, in regards to, instead of like, snow events, are you looking at other type of like flooding or rain-based events?
Yeah, so rain-based. So when there's big rain comes in, early in the season, we do have basement type projects campaign ready to go as well. But yeah, we haven't automated them, but we have content and email templates ready to go. Always ready. We try to be anyway.
Right. Sounds good. And then you target based on geographic, I would assume, right?
Geographic, and sometimes it depends what they engage in. If the weather, like we call it red zone, like snowstorm is definitely in the red zone. So we have different segment based on the engagement. We have like hot, warm, cold, hot plus, also like our segmentation system. And hot is the most engaged people. And if the weather is, not too extreme, we would try to use the hot people because, they're engaged with our communication. That helps with unsubscribe as well.
Great. And then do you personalize differently across those segments? Your hot versus cold segments. Are you doing different personalization, or is it just frequency of targeting that you're looking at?
A lot of our personalized campaigns are automated. But yeah, the segmentation we do. We send them out and we segment, like we have different segment that we list out. And when we plan out our campaign that's coming up, we're like, okay, who are we going to segment this to? So having a spreadsheet and a list of all those segments really helped us personalize better.
Great. Thanks very much. Any further questions from the audience? We are heading into a break, so please do enjoy some of the networking with fellow attendees. Please do stop by our sponsors booths and make sure that you see what they have to offer. We have some fantastic sponsors that are able to help you out. And I know they have people sort of standing by to enjoy a quick conversation with you. Kwanta, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much for your presentation. And again, everyone, please do stick around. We'll be back at the bottom of the hour at 10:30 with our next session, which is a panel coming up with Auto Trader Canada, Rogers Communication, and Moneris, talking about nurturing clients across their life cycle. So this will be a fantastic panel as well. I'm looking very forward to it. And Dan Murphy from Vigorate Digital will be moderating that session. So please do stop by at 10:30 Eastern. And again, please stop by our sponsors booth, stop by the networking, and get to know your fellow participants. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye.